these things can cause a lot of damage. So a while back, I put a hole in my Patagonia Alpine Guide Pants, and it was because of my crampons. It was kind of one of those days where maybe I was trying to get a little too loose with my feet, and I ended up just like putting a hole right into the pant. So that sucked. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how I patched these pants. Now with that being said, let's just get right into it. One of the first things I like to do while repairing a hole like this is just kind of trim the excess fabric. It kind of helps while you're applying Tenacious Tape, and that's right, I did say Tenacious Tape. That's what I use to repair any of my holes or tears in jackets or pants. Tenacious Tape works really well. There's all sorts of different types you can get. Like you can get ones that have Gore-Tex in it, so it's waterproof. For these pants, I just use regular Tenacious Tape, but we'll kind of get into the application of that a little bit later. But yeah, so just trimming around the edges to make sure nothing will get caught in the tape is kind of the most important step at this point, and making sure kind of everything lays flat. So what I'm doing right here is I am just sizing up the tape to see how big of a section I need to do the repair. It's actually really convenient that Tenacious Tape has a grid on the back, because you just use that grid as a guide. And as you can see right here, I'm just cutting it to the size I need. So it's really convenient that Tenacious Tape is able to do that. And kind of one of the big things is before you apply the Tenacious Tape onto the hole, it's a good idea to kind of trim the corners so you have more rounded corners. It just prevents it from the tape lifting up on the corners. It's more likely if you have a sharp corner that corner is going to lift up. So if you round all the corners, it does a good job of keeping the tape from lifting and from failing. Okay, so now we're ready to apply the tape. I just kind of peel back the paper from the Tenacious Tape, and I get it lined up. And you apply one little section first so then you can roll it over the hole. And while you're doing that, it's kind of important to make sure you don't get any folds in the tape, and you make sure that the pants or whatever you're repairing don't have a little wrinkle in the middle. It just allows for a nice, flat, easy applied patch. And as you can see, there's no kind of wrinkles in it. It's a pretty flat profile, so that's great. And the biggest thing you can do after you apply the tape is just kind of rub the tape just to get that extra adhesion to make sure it won't fail immediately or at all. And kind of the biggest thing is just to make sure to rub all the corners, make sure the corners are really set up well. So now we're on the inside of the pant. You actually don't need to do a double patch. I just like to do double patches. When I put a hole in my dual aspect pants, I did a double patch. It's just kind of my thing I like to do. But what we can see right now is that I'm just trimming the excess fabric. There's actually more fabric on the inside of the pant that was ripped on the outside. So I'm just doing the same thing of trimming everything to make sure nothing gets caught up, and the patch lays nice and flat once I apply it. Okay, so we're getting ready to apply it. I did everything the same. You kind of round off all the corners. I'm going to apply it the same way. You get a little bit of the tape exposed, and then you adhere that first, and then you just kind of roll the tape on to the hole. As you can see, I'm doing that right now. And it's the same application process. You want to kind of stretch out the pant, but not too much because it'll get funky, especially with a 4-way stretch pant. But you just want to make sure it lays flat. And then you do the same thing, is you make sure to kind of rub the patch just to get the adhesive to bond to the material stronger or faster. And yeah, you just kind of focus on all the corners again, just to make sure that none of the corners lift. Now, everything I did here was not really special. This is kind of the same technique that Patagonia put out in a video on how to repair Patagonia clothing with Tenacious Tape. And I use Tenacious Tape because it's what Patagonia recommends. And fun fact, if you repair any item with Tenacious Tape from Patagonia, it doesn't void the warranty. So keep that in mind. Anyways, I know this was kind of a different style of video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys learned something.